Okay, Ron, we're back. Thank you for that question in the first question asked. And we have another one from a member. And that question is, Ron, can you comment on the topic of people who struggle with addictions? What is your opinion as to why so many people have different types of addictions?
These are really good questions, and to get a real good understanding, you have to understand what the purpose of the third dimension is for. Um, we incarnate as many times as well. We're going through the karmic wheel of birth and death. Birth and rebirth. Let's call it that way. That's what the Kabbalah is set up for us. If you die, you're encouraged to go through a tunnel and there's light at the end of the tunnel. Well, that light at the end of the tunnel is taking you back to into the process of the circulation of birth and rebirth. If you were to turn around and go the other way, you look out there and there's the stars and everything like that. We're learning how to not go back into the wheel of birth and rebirth, the karmic wheel, and get out of it. If you know about it, then you'll make the proper decision. So that's an important thing to understand. While you're here in third dimension, you get to experience things that you cannot experience in any other dimensional experience. Your soul is in charge of the activities of your life. I mean, you're really the only one that's doing things, but your soul is going through its responsibility and its power to lead and direct you, and it does that by putting thoughts and ideas in your mind, and it'll get you to the right place at the right time to fulfill the purposes for your reason for coming to the earth at this time. And it's all it's not foreplanned. It is foreplanned, but it's not foreordained. You can always change. Most people do not take control of their lives, and therefore they're being controlled by other people. If you're following anything outside of you, any teacher, whatever, outside of you, then you're subject to having your system or your body or your functions or your psychic taken over. And that's why we're in such a tenable position right now, is because we're learning all of the bad stuff that's taking place. And you are the only one that is responsible for the things that are going on in your life. What you focus on is what you're bringing about. Now, what part of all of that is an addiction? And why are so many people having addiction? Well, keep in mind, this is probably the closing up scenes of the third dimension. And maybe the last chance for those people to experience an addiction of some sort. And so we come down here and we think what we're trying to do is go back to heaven. That's not right. That's not what we came down here for. We didn't come down here as a test to prove that we can do certain things and then go back to heaven. That is so much of a contradiction to the real reasons. We came down here to experience third dimension. We came down here to experience something that we cannot experience in any other location. So a lot of people are wanting to have that experience, and there you go. Now, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? It's a good thing. An old soul is one who has gone around the block a whole bunch of times, millions of times perhaps, going through the birth and rebirth. And a young soul hasn't got as many of those times around the block. So it's not a bad thing. From our perspective, it's really disgusting, and we don't want to do all that stuff. But from the other side, that are helping us to have experiences, so that we can, our soul has responsibility to celestialize their soul extensions, and that's who we are. And you have a higher self, and you talk to your higher self, and you can do things. But they're in charge of getting you into the right place at the right time, so that you'll fulfill the purpose that you came here. So if it includes addictions of some sort, then so be it. And I would suppose that that's the answer to your question, although it's not one we want to hear. But let's understand that the third dimension is a playground for us to do things that we can't do any other location. That's third dimension. Now, it's not just here on the earth. You can go other places to do that. But those third dimensional experiences are the thing that create your old soul, which helps in, excuse me, it helps in you creating some of the higher things that you can might want to create, and you can get to the point where you're co-creating with other people. And Earth, it takes there's a lot of people who are co-creating with the Earth so that they can be a part of it and can come down here and play in it. And so that's one of the things that happens is, before you come to the Earth, you sit down and you might have co-creation with other people. And this is what we're going to do. Well, that's what Love One Society is. We all got together and we said, we're going to need this when we get down there, so let's create it. And then the Alliance called on Ron to bring it down. And so here it is. Is it my creation? No. It is, as far as the Earth is concerned. But we all created it prior to coming here. So when you get into those kinds of things, we can have a better understanding of what's taking place. The most important thing is don't judge it. Stay out of judgment. Stay out of judgment of things that you're going through and things that other people are going through. Just don't judge it. Just let it be and get through it, and you'll find much more happiness and joy in your life if you just allow these things to take place without blaming somebody and causing upsets for yourself by getting angry. It just never works. You're born perfect, and as far as God is concerned, you're still perfect. Nothing you do here has any relevancy to going back to heaven or whatever you're talking. That's all just part of the Cabal's plan to control you. So we just let things take place in our lives, and have I had problems? Yeah, I've had problems in my life. Health-wise, I'm still having those kinds of problems. Why am I having those problems? I can talk to the heavens. Why am I still having to do that? Boy, that's a good question. But there's something beyond my understanding that is perhaps causing those things. But I know it's always going to be for my best good. Because why? Because I love the Lord, and all things shall work out for the best of those who love the Lord. So don't get into judgment about things. Just allow it to be true. So I hope that helps. It's not an easy answer and not an easy question to answer. So, but there we go. Let's move to the next one.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Very deep, but a very good explanation. And I believe it is a difficult question that we all individually have to kind of wrap our arms around it. But all for the good, all for the better. So
I hope so. Thank you, Don.
Thank you, and we'll be right back with another question.